I'm going to share with you my screen. Let me share with you my screen. Good afternoon, everyone. This is Professor Sam Hernandez Rivera from the from the Department of Chemistry at the University of Puerto Rico in Mayagüez. Welcome, Edwin. So we have a fairly large group now, about 12 students, which is it's good. Okay, so let me share my screen, and we're gonna do this webinar interactive, so you're gonna ask questions, and of course I will also learn from you. So let's begin. Okay, I took this data from the PChem lab, in which we measure the rate of polymerization of cyanoacrylate monomer. So it forms polycyanoacrylate, or the commercial name for it is crazy glue. So in the first column, we have the x-axis, which is in wave numbers. In columns B through AC, we have the intensity at each wave number. The resolution on the wave number is approximately 0.5 wave numbers, so it's a fairly adequate resolution. So we're going to start by pressing the column A, take it all the way to the right to the AC, and then down all the way to, let's see how many rows there are. This is a long process. I don't want to interrupt it, because otherwise I'll have to begin all over again. This was measured with the small fiber coupled Raman system that we bought for the PChem lab, which is not working, but it produces the best results I've seen. And Paola remeasured them using the Renishaw and the Oriva, how they call it, I forgot. Explora. So all the wave numbers and intensities have been selected. I move the cursor all the way up so that the graph will be in the first columns and rows, and then we hit insert, and we want to insert a graph. Let's see, this type of graph, which is scattered with smooth lines. And here we go. All right. So we have a graph now. Okay. Now let's do magic with the graph. Okay. So the first thing I'm gonna do is move the chart title into the graph itself, so we maximize both the X and the Y axis. And let's do that right now. I'm maximizing the Y axis. It takes time because there is a lot of data. Okay. Second thing I'm gonna do is put a title on it. So this is Raman Spectra for genetics of polymerization of cyanoacrylate monomer. It's a long name. The other thing I'm going to do is enhance the title. I will go back home and we put it in bold and we use very dark hue. Well, should have worked better. Let's see if I can fix it. Everything is a compromise. Better? Yep, that's much better. Huh. Okay, I misspelled off. So let me fix that. Off. Okay. So we put the title on one side so it doesn't interfere with any of the signals. Almost good. We'll work on that later on. The next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna move all the labels of the spectra into the graph itself. They're color coded. We don't want to mess around with it, at least not much. There we go. Okay, I think we can optimize a little bit better. Good. Okay, so the next thing is to optimize the bottom of the y-axis, the intensity axis. Okay, and that's pretty good. Now the x-axis. Okay, next thing is the back of the spectra has slight mark on the borders. I want to remove that. So I press on the outside of the axis and tell it to format the chart area. And we go to the border and we specify no line. And close the border, the chart border. Next thing, we remove the guidelines. Delete. No guidelines for the x-axis. Remove the horizontal guidelines. So we have a clean back of the area in which we're going to use the spectra. Next thing, we add in the axis labels. To that, we go to insert. Nope, not insert. Page layout. Not there either. View. Huh. Chart design. Okay. So we go to chart design and we say, let's add in an element. We have the axis. We want to add the axis titles. And we go to the primary horizontal. That's there. And next, we go to the axis titles, add in the primary vertical. And that's there too. Okay, good. So now we go to the x-axis title and we write Raman shift space slash space centimeters to the -1. And it didn't write it well, so we shadow on the -1, and with the right clicker on your mouse, you go to font and specify superscript. Yes, working like a charm. Next, I'm all for Arial, so we go to the fonts and we specify Arial. We tell it that we want it at point 14, so it'll be big and easily recognizable. And we Again, the font color we use as black as we can. And bold. Yep. Great. Okay. I don't know if you are aware that the backslash means the following. If the x-axis is labeled in centimeters elevated to the -1 or reciprocal centimeters, if you put a slash after Roman shift, that means that you're dividing by reciprocal centimeters. So reciprocal centimeters divided by reciprocal centimeters, you have a pure number, a dimensionless number. Okay, so that's the international way of specifying the both axes. Now we hit the x-axis and change the theme font to Arial. We put it in as black as we can. And we put the font to 0.12 so that it'll be big and easily recognizable. And press bold again. Okay, so let me optimize. I'm bringing the x-axis a little bit up. That's it. Beautiful. Okay, let's do the same with the y-axis. So I'm not going to explain. I'm going as fast as I can. Good. No, one more than needed. So font is 14. Okay, now we have the axis the way we want them. Okay, so now we go to the label of the y-axis. This is harder because it's slanted. It's very vertically up, but it's okay. We tell it that we want it in very black, the darkest black as possible, font 14, Arial, and bold, and tell it that the label should be intensity space slash space a dot u dot intensity in arbitrary units. And we're done with the axis label. Now we want to have the back part of the graph. We will have it also in the borders that they should look very dark also. So we press it right in the middle of the plot area, hit the right clicker on your mouse, and it says, and go to, excuse me, format plot area. And now we go to border. We say solid line. It says complex formatting that is applied to selected chart may take a little while to display, blah, 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 blah. Okay. Now we go to color, specify very black. We go to width and tell it to be 2.0. 2.0 is optimum for our work. Okay, everything is almost ready to go. Okay, now the next step. Go to the x-axis, hit the x-axis numbers, hit the right clicker, and go to format axis. You go to the text options. We're there. The minimum is about 130 wave numbers. Just press 130, but don't do anything else. Now hit 3500, which is the maximum. That way, great. That way, you're in control, not Excel. The highest wave number should have been 3200. So we go to 3200. And we're in 3200, but don't press enter. Press any other thing. So just the major units. Yes, there we are. Okay, something I don't like particularly because the x-axis unit is separated every 530 wave numbers. So let's go back to the minimum label on the axis and specify 100. Okay, and then go back to the major unit, and now you're going from 100 to 3200 every 500 wave numbers, and that's a little bit too much. But let's leave it like that. But the secret is the following. When you go into units, the minor unit should be the half of the major unit. Since the major unit is 500 wave numbers, the minor unit should be 250. And don't press enter. Go to major unit, and that'll be it. Huh, nothing. It's okay. Let's do magic. Let's change to 400 major unit and 200 minor unit, the half of 400. Okay, next thing, go into tick marks, which is close to the bottom of the format axis text options. So hit click on tick marks, and it says make a minor type. On the major type, press outside. On the minor type, also press outside. We're almost done, but not quite. Now go to axis options, the one on the leftmost part, which has, I don't know, I don't know what that is. Fill and line, okay. And then go to color, press very dark color, go to width, and take the width all the way to 2.0. It's looking great. I will do the same thing on the y axis, but I won't spend so much time talking about what I'm doing. I'm on the tick marks right now. They're both outside. I go to the left, to the fill and line axis options, tell it the color very dark black, and the width 2.0. Okay, there are too many small tick marks. So we go to the text options, axis options, and since the major unit is 10,000, the minor unit should be half of that, or 5,000. Yes, we're done. Okay, now we have all that we need. This is a oh yeah, one more thing. This should have been the part of the chart that contains the information on the minutes. The columns are in minutes, 0 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, all the way to 135 minutes. That also should be in very dark color and should be in Arial. Just wait. And in bold. Just wait. And let me change the font size to 10. We will have, yes, done now. Okay, let's stop briefly for your questions. Any questions? Please, your questions. Okay, let's carry on. Now, going to the part of the chart, let's work on the chart a little bit more. Let's put it no format area, no filling whatsoever, no fill.
Profe,
yes.
About the labels of the spectra, depending on how many spectra we have, the names are going to be less or greater. So the position of those labels are going to depend on the size, or always are going to be in the right corner.
No, it doesn't matter. You can put them anywhere, but within the graph. not outside the graph, okay? I'm just going to fiddle around a little bit more with the optimizing the view. I can't work with one of the formatting options open. So I'm going to maximize the title. Let's move it to the right. It doesn't want to move. We'll have it. Okay, there. It doesn't want to move. So let's help it. There. Okay. Okay. Let me do the following. Let me move the graph all the way to the left. Suppose you want to eliminate one of the spectra. How do you do that? You go to the middle of the chart of the plot area, press the left click, and then press the left click and go into select data. And lo and behold, here are all the data. 0 to 135. Let's eliminate the 135, and then we will undo it. Let's eliminate 130, 125, and then hit OK. I didn't see much change. Let's keep eliminating. Let's eliminate 3 more. Someone to keep the accounting. Incredible. You can hardly notice the change. Oh, I know why. Okay, let me undo everything. Okay. I have to work backwards. And I have a way of checking out. Remember that I moved the graph all the way to the left. So if I overdo, the graph should move to the right. Okay, that's it. It moved to the right. So I'm done. Okay, let me move the chart all the way to the left again. Now, let's go to select data and eliminate the 0, the 5, the 10, the 15, the 20, 25, and 30. Okay, you see how the intensity went down from about 7,000 to less than, 7,000 to less than 50,000. So let's undo and get all the spectra again. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's it. back. Okay, now, well, a little bit too much. Okay, that's it. All right, okay. Let me do the following. Let me zoom at a particular areas. But to do that, I press on the upper left corner with a right click and then do a left click and hit copy. Then I move all the way to the right and hit paste. Here's my spectrum. My spectrum. By the way, singular is spectrum, plural is spectra. Please, not spectrums. Spectrums is a misnomer. Okay, let me now work on the copy of the original. I'm gonna take it all the way to the right. I want to do magic with it. All the way to the right. Okay. Now, to zoom in an area, I go and hit the left click on the x-axis and immediately after the right click. And I go to format axis and I tell the software that go from 100 wave numbers all the way to 1000 wave numbers. Remember, don't hit enter. Go to the maximum, to the minimum, and hit it with the left click. Okay, there it is. So I close format axis. Now I hit the vertical axis, the y-axis. I tell it that I want to format the axis and I want to go from 0 intensity all the way up to 20,000 counts. And I don't press enter. I go to the minimum and hit the left click. There it is. I overdid it. So maybe I go to a maximum of 21,000. No, that didn't do it. And it messed. I didn't follow my own recipe. And it messed my y-axis. I'm back to where I started. Now I want to go to maximum in the y-axis, 22,000. Perfect. Okay, it's looking pretty good, except I don't have information from 0 to about 2,500 counts. So I go back to the y-axis, tell it to format the axis, and to begin at, say, about 1,500. That's pretty good, okay? So this is my new spectrum since the table of uh, the table of times for the spectra is now interfering with several of the signals. I move it around and optimize it so that it doesn't interfere. Good. Okay, this is a sum of the 100 to 1000 wave number region. Let me optimize the format area so that it doesn't have white background. It has no background at all. So you have to do it in a place where you can see what you're doing. So I'll go to format chart area and I tell it no fill. And I close the format chart area. And that's it. That's my second spectrum. And if I want to optimize the x-axis, now I have only 3 labels. I go to the x-axis with the left click, hit on the right click to format axis, and tell it to go from with the major unit 100 and the minor unit 50, half of the major unit. Beautiful. We have 2 spectra now. Let's go to the third spectrum, the third spectra immediately. Copy the original, put it below the second one, hit paste. There's my third spectrum. Okay, now let's zoom in the 2000 to 3200 wave number region. I go to the, click on the horizontal axis, the x-axis, tell it to format the axis, and I go from 2000 wave numbers to 3200 wave numbers. And I optimize the unit, go from major unit 100, minor unit 50. Done. I have my third spectrum. Okay, now let me zoom in the area of 2000 to 2400 region. So I'm going to copy this one right here. First of all, I go into format chart area, and I tell it no fill. Good. Then I copy that one. And I copy it below the third spectrum. Paste. Working like a charm. Okay, I have my fourth spectrum. And now I'm telling it to go the x-axis from 2000 to 2400 wave numbers. Excellent. So let me show you the beauty of this experiment. Okay, see how the intensity is going down, down, down. Let me zoom even more. Let's go from 2150 to 2350 wave numbers. Okay, now you can see the beauty of this experiment. Here's the maximum. The maximum is shifting. Let me add in an arrow. So I go insert where the hell word art. No, that's not it. Shapes. Insert a shape. And I go with an arrow. And here's the arrow. I label the arrow. I format the arrow so that it's in very intense, blue. And with a point width of at least 2.0. Yeah, put 2.0 is okay. So I close the format shape option and I move the arrow vertically down and take a look at the tendency. Okay, this is something we want to publish. Can you tell me what's going on? Anyone?
It seems a bone is disappearing and another one is appearing.
Yes, you're perfectly right. But what? Okay, let me fix the x-axis better. So we'll have more resolution on the wave numbers. Half of 50 is 25. No, we can do better than that. Let's go to 30. And half of 30 is 15. And we're done. Okay. What does this signal correspond to? Anyone? let me see if I can find the label so I don't have to work that hard. Or otherwise, I'll introduce. Yeah, sure. Let me label the sheet and rename it and call it MS Excel workshop. Okay, that's it. MS Excel workshop. Okay, and then I'll delete this one. I'll delete. It's taking some time. Okay, it's done. I'll delete the original data if I want to send this to you. Okay, so we're with the MS Excel workshop. Okay, let's insert a text box. Okay, so this bond corresponds to cyanide. This is the C triple. Oh, come on. Okay, let me do better. Insert symbol. Anyone knows where a triple bond? Here's a double bond. Here's a triple bond. Yes. Okay. This is okay. So as Jorge mentioned, we're not only displacing the signal towards higher wave number, which would mean what? Anyone? Anyone? This is a good question for a doctoral exam. So beware, if you can't handle this question, this is just simple chemistry. What is the meaning when a band shifts, a Raman band shifts towards the right? First of all, what does Raman shift represent? And why is it going from 0 to 3,400? Anyone?
It represents the Raman-Stokes shift.
Okay, it represents the Raman shift. Okay, so what else does it represent? if it's going from left to right, and infrared should be the same. In the old times, and maybe in some instruments still today, it would place the wave number, maximum wave number at the left, and minimum wave number at the right. But that doesn't make sense because wave numbers are proportional to energy. So when you go from 100 to 3200, you're increasing wave number, but you're also increasing energy. And this is the right way of doing it. Okay? Well, let's carry on. We're right to end, almost ending the webinar. Okay, so the band maximum is moving towards the right, but a second band is forming. This has not been reported in the literature. And you know what the problem is? CM is not supposed to interfere in the reaction. But we have a new discovery. That's why we want to publish this SISP as soon as possible. Okay, so let me save the file so I can send it to you. All of you know how I label the date. I write the year first, 23, dot, the month next, 05, dot, and the day at the end, 23. That's all. So let me stop sharing and answer questions. Oh, I see Priscilla. Great. I was missing you, Priscilla. I see Tatiana also and Tamara. Great. Let me stop sharing. Let me stop recording. How do I stop recording? Okay.